What's up, peeps? We're back. Welcome to the second edition of Fresh Files Live. The only way that you can ask questions is if you have an account with Spreecast. So, in order to ask you questions, you have to have an account, and also enter your questions into the screen queue in the right corner of the screen, the bottom right corner of the screen. If you don't put it there, I won't be able to see your questions. Do not enter it into the chat. I'm not asking questions in the chat. So, I guess let's just get it started. Yeah, I know you guys have a lot of questions about the team, myself, other guys. So I won't even go there. I'll ask the questions as they come. All right, let's get it started. All right, so Neil warns, how do you feel about the call on you a couple weeks ago when the ball was down on the called interception? Obviously, I was a little bit frustrated just because of the fact that I didn't believe that it was an interception. I believe the ball hit the ground. I don't think anybody had a better view of the ball and the position of it than myself. So a little frustrated, but let's be honest, that wasn't the play that called the game. There was a lot of plays in there that we had opportunities to make plays and we didn't, and some other things that didn't go our way. It just felt like the ball didn't bounce our way. So, we're not going to fret on that or stay on it for too much longer. And the next question, Bernard Aguinaldo, I'll say, I'm sorry if I butcher your name. How are your relatives 7 weeks after the typhoon, Yolanda and Hyan devastated the signs? Well, I appreciate you asking me first and foremost, but my family, they're all accounted for. They're doing well, actually. They had some trouble getting some food earlier on, but they're doing much better now. All my family members, they moved up to my aunt's house in Manila. So, they're all partying in one house right now. But no, everybody's safe and sound, and I appreciate that question. So now we'll go to the next question. Teach So Hard 187. I think I know who this is, but what aspects of your life, both on and off the football field, do you think could grow the most? And from where, I gotta see what that's, where you are today. Okay. Very good question. So I'll repeat the question. What aspects of your life, both on and off the field, do you think you could grow the most in from where you are today? I think on and off the field, more so just not really worrying about things that I can't control. You always hear me in my interviews always say if we focus on the things that we can control, that will be fine. But it's human nature to worry about the things that you can't control. You have to have a type of attitude that doesn't allow you to get caught up in those distractions. But unfortunately, human nature, you get caught up in that. So both on and off the field, if I can just worry about the things I can control and not worry about the things I can't, I think I'll be in a lot better position to do what I want to do. Hawk fan asks me, fan of yours since Stanford, what's the favorite venue to play at outside of Centurylink? Well, to be honest with you, I really, really had a fun time at Lambeau Field this preseason when we played Green Bay. It was a different atmosphere, and you go to that stadium and there's so much tradition, so much history, and then it's natural grass, and not taking anything away from Centurylink. But the natural grass there was a little bit different, and it just it kind of reminded me of home, just the atmosphere and the way that it was. I enjoyed it a lot, but the only place I would rather I'd go other than CenturyLink would be Lambeau Field. And I'm not saying contract-wise, I'm just saying to play. So don't take that differently. Next question. Doug Baldwin fans, it's my boy. Hey Doug, how you feeling health-wise for these playoffs? Well, I'm actually feeling really well. The best I can for week 18, week 17. I feel really good, surprisingly. I feel much better than I did last year in my rookie season. So I'm doing something right, but I feel really good. Thank you for asking. Ken Glass wants to know, do athletes get special treatment at Stanford? No, we don't actually. Actually, we have a little bit tougher than the regular population, just because they don't afford us some of the things that you would think that athletes would get. We're held to the same standard and to the same guidelines, and I think it's a little bit more difficult just because of our time schedule. We have to focus on time management. That's the biggest thing for us. So that's an issue. But other than that, no, we don't get any special treatment at all. Jackie Lund, do you have any pregame rituals you do for good luck? No. To be honest with you, I don't believe in luck. I believe that you make the best out of every situation based on how prepared you are. So pregame rituals based for luck, I don't have any, but I do have pregame rituals. I listen to the same music on the bus ride over to the stadium and before the game. I do have my pregame warm up with Sherm. We do the same thing every game. Just try to get into a method of doing the same thing. That way, when you get to game time, there's nothing different. You're just ready to play. So I guess that's the best I can answer, or the best way I can answer your question. Mad A, do you think college players should be paid? And thanks for doing it. I appreciate it, man. Do I think college players should be paid? I do, actually. Honestly, I don't know, what amount they should be paid, but I do think that the NCAA and the business side of college sports is taking advantage of the players, of the athletes, and I mean, it's the nature of the business. And some people will say, "Well, you guys are getting a free education." Well, yeah, that's part of it, but at the same time, I think a lot of the guys are, you know, let's be real. The universities are taking advantage of the college athletes, and they're making billions of dollars off of them. So I think that the players should get a small percentage of it, a small cut. I mean, I don't like I said, I don't know the number, but I think something should be given to them. Joey Woodside, thanks for doing this. No problems. I was just wondering how players view the idea of taking less money in their contract to allow. Oh, this is a long question. Other players to stay on the team. Is this something players do ever? Have you or any other Hawks considered it? I know I would love to see all the upcoming free agents back on the team come September. That's a very good question, Joey. Unfortunately, I can't speak for everybody on the team, but I know there are some guys that have talked about it, have discussed uh, leaving money out there in order for this team to stay together. But the only problem with that is, it's very difficult in the business realm of the NFL not to be selfish at times. I know guys, they want to stay with their teammates, but the NFL and the way the teams run things, sometimes they'll cut you without any thought about your situation or your future, and that's just the business side of it. So it's hard for guys not to be selfish and look out for themselves. But I know that this team is very close, and if there's anything that we can do to stay together, I'm pretty sure we would do it. Personally, myself, I've contemplated it, and I think that I would do it if we could keep the whole team together, because ultimately your legacy is going to be determined about how many times you win the championship and not what your paycheck was. So, very good question, and I appreciate it. Ryan Miniard wants to know what inspires me most. What inspires me most? Um, That's a very good question. It's a tough question to answer. I think that there's multiple things that inspire me, and I can't pinpoint one thing that inspires me the most. I would say that my mom has a very huge influence on me, just how hard she worked and everything that she sacrificed to raise her kids, and how important it was for her to do that to her. So I think that inspires me not to let her down, and to make her proud in everything that I do. But what also inspires me, I guess, is the not so much the fear of failure, but the challenge that failure presents. I'm excited about opportunities and challenges, because in obstacles, because that's where you become better. That's where you become a better person, a better football player. So I think my mom, and then the opportunity of challenges and obstacles is what inspires me. Miss Moon, don't know if you're able to answer this, but would you say that the offense playbook has been limited the last few weeks of the regular season? um, Very observant of you. I wouldn't say that it's been limited. I think that at times we've become more conservative, and I think that that's just how it goes. When you get later into the season, and when you kind of have things wrapped up, as teams really don't want to show that much, and that's because when you go into the playoffs, you want to be able to have your best stuff that's not been shown, and save it for the playoffs. So I don't know, if it's. I wouldn't say it's been limited. I just think that we've been smarter with the playbook. Mr. Mark wants to know how hard on a scale from 1 to 10 are the classes at Stanford. He has a 13. I am 13 years old, and it is my dream to attend Stanford someday. The Stanford classes are they are challenging, and I say that in a good way because they challenge you in a number of different ways. And when I got to Stanford, I think I was a little bit narrow-minded than I would like to admit. But the classes at Stanford, they make you open your mind and think about things from a different perspective and a different opinion. And I think that that has a lot to do with where I am today, just being able to communicate with different types of people because those classes were so challenging. I wouldn't say difficult or hard. I can't put really like a number to them, but I would say that they're definitely challenging in a good way. Wendy Kofer wants to know, has the offense prepared any differently this time around versus the last time you played the Saints? Well, first off, that's it's kind of too early to talk about because we just had our first practice technically for the Saints today. So we're not preparing any differently. The game plan it's different in some aspects because we have to change our plays every once in a while. And they obviously know the plays that we ran against them last game. So uh, you know, not changing much in the way that we prepare, but our game plan might change and vary a little bit. But we won't know until the game time. Joe Bender, when you make those insane sideline clutch catches and the ball's in the air, what goes through your mind? Appreciate it first and foremost, but nothing really goes through my mind at all. I just you're just out there playing football, and you got to have a an empty mind, so to speak, or actually they call it a quiet mind. So in those instances, in those situations, I'm not really thinking about anything. I'm just trying to lock on to the ball and think about where the defender is near me, if there is a defender, and where the sideline is. Um, but all that is kind of natural. It comes second nature. So it's not really nothing that I'm thinking about. I'm just trying to track the ball and make sure I catch it with my hands or tuck it with my body to protect it from the defender. Good question, though. Larissa Jacob, what are some of the hobbies outside of football? I'm a nerd first and foremost. You guys all know that from my social media sites. I always tweet about Nerd Nation, so I'm a nerd first. I do like to play Madden a lot. I know. Uh, I do like to play with Legos. I know some of y'all look at me like I'm funny, but when I was growing up, my mom used to always buy me these boxes of Legos, and I would take them and I wouldn't look at the instructions. I would just build with my own stuff and whatever I wanted to build. So I do not have a model airplane collection, but I do have some Legos that I'll play with every once in a while, just to keep the mind going and taking complicated things and I don't know, playing with Legos like a kid. Next question. Jesse Sprouse. What's up, Jesse? Holler at me about the trip. We'll make that happen. She asked, "Do you have a favorite football movie and why?" Remember the Titans. I don't think anybody could say that Remember the Titans is not one of the best football movies. And I know there's some funny football movies out there, but I'm a serious guy. Everybody calls me Angry Doug Baldwin. I don't know why. I promise you, I'm a nice guy deep down inside. But no, Remember the Titans is probably one of my favorite movies just because it's so inspiring and there's so many different storylines and messages in that movie. But for a number of reasons, I can't really pinpoint a single reason why. But Remember the Titans would be it. Veronica, have you thought about branding yourself? Marshawn, Richard Golden all have T-shirts and things of that nature. So when are we going to see some Dougie Fresh gear? Um, Good question, Veronica. I have some things in the works. I'm a little touchy about that. I don't do well with self promotion and those types of things. Not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying I'm not good at it in that department. I'm working on it. We're figuring some things out. I got some guys working on it, and they're wonderful people helping me out. So we're gonna work on some things, and hopefully we'll have some gear for you in the near future. Doug Baldwin fans wants to know, what is your night before game meal? Very good question. Actually, I'm a big nutritionist. I take my what I eat seriously. So uh, the night before the game, I like to do carb loading. I like to get some pasta. I like to eat a lot of food because on game day, it's so difficult for me to eat anything and then hold it down. And we only eat breakfast. So if it's like a 1 o'clock game, we only eat breakfast the next morning. We don't have lunch. We might have a small sandwich or something, but we don't eat until after the game. So the night before, I get this big meal, a lot of pasta because I try to carb load for energy. But that's mainly it, carb load, and then I gotta cheat a little bit, so I have a vanilla milkshake with some Oreos in it. But other than that, just pasta. Ethan Dark wants to know what's the best book you have ever read, any genre. Y'all would say I'm funny for this, but it's a book called Mind Gym. It's not that big. It's I think some of you probably have heard me say it before. Mind Gym is basically a book that talks about the athlete's mind and how they can better enhance their performance by doing mental exercises. And so, basically it's a book that tells you simply what I told you earlier, just to control what you can control and looking at things in a positive light and not a negative light. It goes through a whole bunch of exercises. It gives plenty of examples. It's written by this doctor that has gone all over the world, all over the country, doing experiments and doing things to justify his reasoning and his beliefs. And it's helped me out a lot tremendously. I started reading it my junior year in college, and I think that's what kind of got the ball rolling for me mentally. But I read it every year just to refresh on it and keep my mind set up to where it needs to be. But very good question. Patrick Goldwine, who would you rather face, Panthers or 49ers? Well, Pat, I do believe that we play the Saints on Saturday. So, I can't really answer that question. We gotta get past the Saints before we can even look at that question. And in all honesty, I really don't care who we face, because if we do face somebody, that means that we're in the second round of the playoffs, or the third round, technically, of the playoffs. So it doesn't matter to me. I'll just be happy with playing another game. Jamie Thistle, first off, thanks for all the hug at Mill Creek. You're welcome, Jamie. You also sent me into cardiac arrest. You're funny. How do you stay so humble? I appreciate you saying that. I try to stay humble, not for any reason other than I know where my blessings come from. I appreciate everything that I've been through, everything that I've been blessed with, and I know that it could all be taken away with a blink of an eye. And my mom has always preached that to me growing up. Everything happens for a reason. Everything is given to you for a reason. Things happen to you for a reason. So for me, I don't think, when you guys look at me, as Doug Baldwin, '89, the football player. Well, I just look at Doug Baldwin as the same Doug Baldwin that was playing Little League football back in Pensacola. So, for me, I'm just a football player. I don't save lives. I don't do anything special other than play football. I'm an entertainer. So, I don't know why. There's no reason to not be humble, in my opinion. Miss Moon wants to know, would you say that this team is one of the closest teams you've been on? I'd agree. I think we're such a young team, and we kind of all came together at the same time that we kind of grown together, and the team I don't know. There's something special about the team. It's kind of hard to pinpoint, but I would say, yeah, this is the closest team I've been on, and it's amazing because I'm friends with everybody. Everybody gets along. We don't have any problems. The locker room is, it's like one big family. Definitely one of the closest teams I've been on. All right, guys, we got a couple more minutes. I'll try to answer one or two more questions, but other than that, I appreciate the questions. But let's get back to the questions. Rowena Jubei, I'm sorry, Kamusta ka to you too. What is your favorite Filipino food? Of course, it's lumpia. And I like pork lumpia. And don't get me wrong, I like pancit, I like chicken adobo, but lumpia is probably the best. Not the best for you, but my grandmother makes this amazing lumpia sauce with it. So you can't beat lumpia. Or I do like the shrimp fried rice. My grandmother does make an amazing shrimp fried rice too. One more question. Matt A, what is the difference of an NFL locker room at halftime when you're winning versus when you're losing? Well, we try to make it the same, no different from when we're winning or losing. When you go in at halftime, the score is 0-0 again when you come back out. So for us, we're just going to make our adjustments, continue to preach what we've been preaching all week about taking care of the ball and controlling what we can control, and just like I said, our little adjustments that we might have to make because of what the other team is doing. But other than that, it's no different from when we're winning or losing. So, all right, guys, I appreciate all the questions. It's been fun. It's been real. I thank you guys again. Like I said, we're going to do this again, so keep your account, and if you didn't get to ask questions before, make an account, and we'll have a Fresh Files live in the future. I don't know when, but we'll plan around it. And then to be updated on when we will have a Fresh Files live again, keep in touch with my social sites. You can go to Twitter at Doug Baldwin Jr., Facebook at facebook.com/Doug Baldwin Jr., and then YouTube at youtube.com/user/Mr. DBFresh89. Appreciate you guys, and we'll do it again soon. And as always, stay fresh.